Welcome to Assess Bushcraft and Survival. Today you're speaking with Bushcraft, and I've got a couple of things that I want to talk to you about. Alright, first things first, apologies for I guess not being there and uploading as many videos as I'd like to. There's been a couple of things going on in the background there, moving house and the like, and as you can imagine, plays a toll, makes it a bit difficult. But coming in the new year, everything should be calm seas, and we should be good, and got a couple of things already on the burner that I'm looking forward to showing with you. I guess first off, there is the King Daddy swag review, which we've mentioned prior. Full disclosure, this won't be an in-depth 6 month of use kind of review. This is one that I'm actually looking at sort of doing a bit of an unboxing, so when it comes to us I can grab it, get it out of the box, and sort of show you what it's like, the experience, and all of that. Secondly, there was a video that I'd produced already that was supposed to get sent to Survival that unfortunately, due to some kind of internet delays and issues, we weren't able to get through. That one was actually about, and I guess we'll make up the bulk of this video, about floods and how to survive floods, and I guess some of the things that might be a little bit more unique about them that need to be considered when either bugging in or bugging out, and sort of what to do about that in general. So basically the idea for me is that we actually had some severe flooding throughout Victoria and also up in New South Wales that affected a lot of people, friends, family, that kind of stuff. Look, it was mild, I guess, in a way, and in other ways it was definitely a little bit scary. It wasn't something that lasted an incredibly long time, but it was a very intense couple of days. And when I say intense, I'm saying that there was flash flooding, there was cars getting taken away, there were shops and houses flooded, and obviously with that comes I guess a great personal loss to those who were truly affected. For myself, it really just amounted to a lot of inconvenient weather, but for some of those close to me that were travelling in that weather, they certainly had to take it slow, had to make sure they had planned their route appropriately, make sure that they were listening to any of the weather warnings, so that if there was any kind of change in the landscape and the route that they'd chosen to take, that they'd be able to mitigate their own personal issue by taking another alternative route. That being said, sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes you're going to be landlocked. You're going to have to stay and hunker down and find, either a piece of high ground, sturdy shelter, something of that effect, where you can try and hunker down and be away from the flooded areas. And again, sometimes even that is hard to find. You'd always like to hope that you can find sanctuary in your own home, but I guess that comes from knowing where your home is on the floodplains. If you take the time to have a look, there are tools you can use online where you can plug in your address or your general locale, and they'll let you know what the 10-year, 100-year, 1,000-year floodplain spectrums look like, so you can sort of understand what is the likelihood that you're gonna flood. That being said, a little bit of common sense. If your house backs onto a river, or there is one not too far away, or a lake or something like that, some kind of natural body of water, surely if you were to get some kind of peak in water production, some kind of peak in rainfall, then of course you're going to be in a high risk area of floods, in which case something like this is more important for you to take heed of. In terms of looking after yourself during a flood, very much a lot of crossover there. You want to make sure you know your plan, review your plan, know where your friends and family are, have a communication schedule set up. At all points in time, just like you would with a general bug out, you want to try and practice it, both soft practice, hard practice, in terms of like discussing and knowing that everyone knows the points of procedure, as well as on a semi-regular basis, if you can, getting out there and actually putting that plan into practice. And as many times as we say this, it really comes down to what is it that you're trying to plan for, what is it that you're trying to you know, set yourself up for success for, and how important is it that you get that sorted, and how important is it that that is successful. You know, it's definitely one thing. You know, there are some people out there that'll be like, well, look, you know, where I am, flooding isn't really an issue. You know, we don't flood too much. I guess for that kind of person, knowing that, you know, at the very least, knowing that you don't want to travel in high risk weather conditions is important, right? It's not really something you can practice. It's only something that you can know and put into practice when the time, you know, comes about. And then in saying that, when it does come to traveling in high risk climates, you've got to make sure that you are taking it slow and that you're observing all of the, not just the street signs, right? You know, when it's wet, you know, you want to change the way you drive anyway. For example, you want to say go 5k's under, but when it's really bucketing rain, when it's torrential rain that you're up against, you know, you want to make sure that if worse comes to worse, find a place to pull over. You know, make sure that you're familiar with your surroundings, where the cars are, and all of that. You know, maybe with self-driving cars, one day, you know, it won't be an issue. But right now, when you've got to do it, the best thing to do is just not drive at all, not walk. Especially, you know, just don't be out in that weather if you can be somewhere safe, be there. But if you must, then yeah, take it slow. Look where you go. Make sure you're conscious more so of your surroundings, what everyone else is doing. The last thing you want is to, you know, you're doing the right thing, and all of a sudden there's a car to your left that doesn't see this giant pool of water they're about to drive through, and then decides to drive erratically because of it. So, you know, be careful there. And of course, you know things like it only takes a couple of feet of water to sweep a car away, right? If you don't have a car that's rigged for water fording, right, like a lot of those four-wheel drives and things like that, don't attempt it. You know, your Subaru can't get through, you know, too much water. And that's something that a lot of people can underestimate. Number one, they can underestimate how deep a body of water is that they're coming to when maybe they travel this road on a semi-frequent basis. And they go, I know this road. I know it dips down a little bit and whatever have you, but I'm sure I can do this. I need to be somewhere. I need to do something. It's very important that I get there tomorrow, today, the next hour, whatever it is. I'll just give it a go. All of a sudden, you give it a go and you stall out your engine and you're stuck in a car that's flooding away. It's much safer to just not do it. To not do it at all. You know, they say turn around and not drown. I think it's the saying that I've heard thrown around. I think that's pretty important. But you know, I mean, this video now comes a little bit late in terms of you know, there are a lot of people out there that did suffer through the flooding, whether it's property damage or vehicle damage or anything like that. I don't believe there was any loss of life. Of course, if there was, you know, hearts go out to it. But you know, in terms of getting through it, that would be my 2 cents on the topic of surviving a flood, or at least, you know, torrential rains and flash flooding. I guess would be that. Anyway, guys, this has been Bushcraft. You've been watching Assess Bushcraft and Survival. Stay safe in the bush.